morning. This is Faith at Faith and Books, and this is going to be my official Sustainability July reading challenge. I announced it a little bit ago, and this is the actual formal setup of the whole thing. So, Sustainability July is inspired by the fact that there is a plastic-free July movement. And you can go to plasticfreejuly.org, I guess it is, and I'll put the link below. And you can sign up for that. And what it means is that in July, you try to reduce your plastic consumption in some way. And you might be a beginner who's never thought about this before, and this is your first attempt, or you could be somebody who's just wants to up your game. I have certain things that I regularly avoid. I avoid plastic bags. I avoid plastic cups for, getting drinks out. I avoid plastic water bottles. My family doesn't. I do that. My family often brings this stuff in. But I would like to get better at it by sort of enforcing rules in the household. Since I'm the captain of this particular ship, I want people to follow the rules. And the big thing since COVID was we've gotten a lot more takeout food, and a lot of that comes in plastic. And so I want to avoid that. So that's sort of the big habit I want to avoid as much as possible. And I have to plan ahead because July is a busy month for me, and things are going to be unusual circumstances, so I have to really think ahead and plan ahead if I'm going to avoid using more plastic than usual. So that's the first thing for the challenge. If I encourage you to join the Plastic Free July movement and try to do something to reduce your plastic pollution, your plastic waste, and also maybe find out more about the topic so that you're more aware. So that's number one. But then this is about reading books, so we're going to talk about books. I think a challenge, it includes all of the above, or whatever I'm going to say right now. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. But at minimum, you just read one book on the topic of sustainability or conservation. And I'm going to come up with a list of topics. So, the more I thought about it, the more topics popped up to me. So I came up with a list of 15 topics, but you could come up with your own. You could find something that's related somehow to sustainability or conservation. It's not confined to just the topics that I came up with. So read at least one book that's under one of these lists or these topics. Read a children's book on the topic. Read a classic having to do with an animal on the topic, like our connection with nature, our connection with an animal. Watch a documentary. Read a memoir or biography or autobiography of a conservationist or somebody's like going back to the land, or you could read their writings if they are scholarly, or they were a reporter or something, they wrote on things. You could read that too. And then read a how-to book or a do-it-yourself book that would help you be more, sustainable. And then lastly, read a book about some place on Earth or some phenomenon on Earth that really inspires you, just fills you with awe. So those are and I'll list all this below. So those are the things you can do for this month. So it's read something within a topic, read a children's book, and then there's something to do with an animal, a documentary, a memoir or biography, a do-it-yourself or a how-to, and reading about a place that inspires you. So here are the topics that I came up with. All this stuff will be in the notes below. I came up with 16 topics, and they just kept crowding in my head. There's more and more. There's so much nuance. It's such a vast topic. Of course, the minute I start talking, I get a tickle in my throat. Anyway, so here are the topics on sustainability and conservation. Urban agriculture. That covers everything: container gardening, community gardens, trying to address food deserts in the city. And there's so much that comes under that one topic. 2, economics of global food. So sort of the food industry and what it's doing. And that's a vast topic. 3, plastic pollution or waste reduction. That's a huge topic. Of course, that really ties into the Plastic-Free July. 4, saving the ocean, and that has to do with also plastic pollution because we have those garbage patches in the ocean, but also like coral reefs disappearing, overfishing, you name it. So saving the ocean. 5, sustainable agriculture, and there's a lot of subtopics. I'm into this particular topic, so permaculture, regenerative farming, homesteading, being a locavore, gardening, composting. Those are all subtopics of that. Number 6, climate change. That also is vast. 7, alternative energy. 8, our alienation from nature, the social aspect of the way we do, the way we relate to nature and the earth, and what it's done to us. 9, conservation of nature. So you could focus on a particular species or saving a particular spot on earth. 10, sustainable design and green building. So, urban planning that brings in nature, designing houses that are much more eco-friendly, that sort of thing. 11, water conservation. That's a huge topic. 12, circular economy. So how economics needs to change, because right now it's all about the profit motive, and it's a linear economy where you just take natural resources, you extract them from the earth, and then you use resources to manufacture things, and then you ship them, and then you sell them, and you don't think about what you do at the end when it's a waste product. And circular economy says it's got to circle back, so that's truly sustainable. 13, big pharma. As you know, I got myself vaccinated for coronavirus or COVID. That's kind of a dicey topic, but they are doing bad things to the Amazon. It is run by these huge corporations that, again, bottom line is profit, and they are depleting the earth of resources and everything. So they're a problem environmentally. 14, what ties into that is deforestation and the desertification of areas of the world because these global corporations are coming in and just ruining things. 15, poverty and pollution. That also ties in with all this. See, at this point, I was just coming with, they're all kind of related. Everything overlaps. But poverty and pollution, people who are poor, developing nations are far more vulnerable than people living in the the 1%ers. So that's an interesting topic. And then the last one I came up with, 16, is fast fashion and textiles and what they're doing to the earth. So those are, but of course there's more. If there's a topic that I didn't name and you're interested in it, read a book on that particular topic. So read a book on one of these topics. Then also read children's books. There's lots of children's books out there that address, nature, animals, and even conservation. Sometimes to me, children's books are too activist oriented. Like it seems like they need to brainwash children into being activists, and I don't think that's fair to children because children have no power really. The only power they have is the power that adults give them. And so I think it's kind of weird to work on, creating this activist mindset in someone who doesn't have the ability. To me, it's more about bonding with nature and appreciating nature. And then when you get old enough, then you can become an activist, if that's what you're called to do, to be a political activist. There's lots of ways to address these issues. Not all of them are about politics. So, but there are good children's books out there. I don't disapprove of all of them. I just think some of them get a little preachy. You know, when you're going into board books that are telling you the ABCs of environmentalism or something, it just seems weird to me. I think it's overkill. But anyway, yeah, read a children's book, and it could just be a children's book. You know, it doesn't have to be like a picture book. It could be a book you read about, I don't know, beavers. You could reread a book that you remember connected you with, like I had mentioned before, A Girl of the Limberlost, where she's learning about, where the main character is learning about the moths, wants to study the moths of the Limberlost swamp. You know, that would be included in this children's book category. And then read a classic having to do with an animal. I read Tarka the Otter a couple of springs ago, or maybe last spring. I cannot even remember. I think it was 2020. That's considered a classic. You know, there's Rascal, that's a children's book too, by Sterling North, about the raccoon, or something like My Side of the Mountain. You know, and other, I mean, there's adult books too, where adults are connecting with animals, or they're particularly interested in conserving a particular animal. I'm just right now off the top of my head, I'm thinking of children's books. Watch a documentary. There's lots of environmental documentaries out there. Some of them, I think, are so over the top, biased, propagandistic that they make me laugh. But others, I think, are really good. I think you have to be discerning when you go in and watch them, and ask questions. Don't just assume the premise of the movie, because they are made for to advance particular ideology often. But I think they're still informative, and they can be sort of a gateway to understanding more about a particular topic. So I will try to come up with a list of movies that I have enjoyed or that I want to watch. But that's something that we can do in this challenge. Read a memoir, biography, or autobiography of a famous conservationist or a biologist, or someone affiliated with the field. And I do know what I'm going to do for that. I'm going to read The Outermost House, a year of the life. Oh my gosh, I can't read. A Year of Life on the Great Beach of Cape Cod by Henry Beston. So that I already know that one. But there are lots out there. I just read a biography of Audubon. That was really interesting. I read that at the beginning of the year, or was it at the end of last year? And there are more. There's real classics out there that you can read. And then read a how-to or do-it-yourself book. I'm going to do it on composting. I really need a better composting system for my house and my yard. And I need it to be for somebody who has a bad back. I can't be hefting big shovels of a dirt. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do that. So that's going to be my how-to subject, or do-it-yourself subject. And then lastly, read a book about a beautiful place on earth that inspires awe. It might be this. I'm not sure. That, you know, some of these overlap, so they can count for two. All right, so that is my challenge, and I will write it all down because I'm not sure how coherent I am. So far, I think I'm going to read Plastic, a Toxic Love Story. That's my under the topics category. And that's the book that galvanized me years ago to get more involved in just being more earth-friendly, you know, creation-friendly, caring about creation, caring about nature. So I'm going to reread that. I want to read a book called Affluenza, which is sort of about the psychological impact of overconsumption and how it distorts our character and our values. So that's gonna be another one under the topic. Um, I have to think about what children's book I'm gonna read. I haven't decided that one yet. Um, this is gonna cover two things, I believe. And then there was another one I planned to read. See, I don't even have my own list down of what I plan to do. And I have to find a book on composting. So, yeah. So I think that's as far as I've gotten. So I hope this is coherent. Like I said, I'll put it all down in the notes. And hopefully people will want to join in. I think this could be really interesting. And, you know, it's a very important topic that's very dear to me. I feel very, very motivated to get better at this and spread the word about how we need to change our ways and focus on being more sustainable because it's kind of dire right now. And yeah, so anyway, all right, so I'll end there and talk to you later, and happy reading. And yeah, that's it. Bye.